All right. While we're starting, it's important for us to start with review, as I said. And I appreciate if anyone from online or from offline can tell us what you understand by academic writing. What is academic writing according to our discussion last week? What makes something an academic writing? What is an academic writing? You can either raise your hand to contribute to it, or you can drop your message and you can drop the response via the chat. What is academic writing? Please, it's important for us to do this because we want the class to be an interactive one, so we can exchange ideas and different views from one another like we did the last time. Anyone? Okay, Adiado. Okay, thanks a lot once again. We appreciate your time for and your effective and active participation last time. Please, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon. Sorry, we are in afternoon here. Good afternoon. Thank you so very much for the other time, and thank you again for today, the knowledge you're going to pass across to us today. So based on what you discussed with us last time, and based on my previous understanding, when we say academic writing, we mean formal writing that follows specific rules and that it's tailored towards a specific audience. That is what I understand by.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And okay, I can see the hand of Owolabi Folashade, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. And thank you for the other time, sir. Really appreciate it, sir. So, sir, from our last discussion, we're able to understand that academic writing is a kind of writing that tries to be precise and does not make use of ambiguous words. That is, academic writing is precise, explicit, unbiased, makes use of words easy for comprehension. So that was like the most important thing I was able to pick from that, the definition of academic writing. And I also learned that whenever we're talking about academic writing, the audience involved is very, very key, it's very important. So understanding your audience helps in academic writing. As you write, you must be conscious of what your audience wants, and you must be able to meet up with that demand. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. So from the two responses and definitions, it's clear that academic writing, number one, it looks into what who is my audience? Who am I writing for? It's important for you to know who you are writing for when you are dealing with academic writing. Even though in most writings, audience matters, not only in academic writing, but academic writing stress more on the importance of audience. That's number one. Number two, from what she said, she's talking about how you shouldn't be ambiguous. You should be clear. There should be clarity in what you write. Academic writing is clear from ambiguity. It should be clear, right? Academic writing, what else? So academic writing, it also works on a certain certain structures. It's expected to be structured in a certain way, right? So from the moment you are mixing it with others, then you are making a very big mistakes. So academic writing, it's important to note that it's different from different other types of writings, and it comes with its golden rules, right? Now, number two. So originally, what we're supposed to do is that, okay, let me read one or two on the chat. Let's see if we can have time for it. Yes, we should. Yes. So someone says that okay, that same one with Owolabi, right? You've dropped something. Let me check another person if we have. Chat. Is anyone sharing the screen over there? I think it is, who is that? Please, if you're sharing the screen, kindly stop sharing the screen from your side. Okay, from Shaibu Ahmed. Academic writing is a kind of writing that reports research findings, answer questions, or challenge assumptions or other researchers' submission. Correct? It's part of that, yes, because it shows how this another kind of a structure of academic writing is. That academic writing is not just like other writing. It has its own rules and formats as it follows. Okay, let's move on. I said someone is sharing. In fact, the person was the one that interrupted with my screen. But let's see if I can take it back from the person. Okay, I did. Good. All right. So moving on, and so originally today what we want to look at is I want to look at organize, and I want to look at plagiarism. We want to look at the necessary steps in avoiding plagiarism, and we will also complement it with and structured as we did last week. So we're going to review the structure itself. So. And originally, when we say the purpose of academic writing, we've looked at it last week. And we said the purpose of academic writing is that they are connected. And number one is that it is to report a piece of research the writers has conducted, like what Shaibu just put together. It's to discuss a subject of common interest and give the writer's view. So it's a common interest and you're also giving your own view. And it is also used for you to synthesize research done by others. So by putting the works of different authors together and coming up with your own views. Understand? So these are some of the purposes of academic writing, even though many of our participants online last week also contributed to what they understand by academic writing. So moving on. Types of academic writing. So types of writing in general. So we have what we call short writing, we have what we call long writing, and we have what we call dissertation, and we have what we call journal articles. The most common one for academic writing is of the two, the last two, dissertation, the one that people know as thesis, or they know as research work. These are the most common one, right? So as well as journal article. So you'll be sharing if you're a master's student when your supervisor is asking that we need to write a paper together, especially for you who is willing to continue with a PhD. So it's important to prepare you with writing in academic journal. So these are different types of writing in general. However, the most connected one to what we call academic writing, that's all the rules of academic writing will be expected to be observed are what? The dissertation and journal article. So what are the basic structure of our academic writing? If we say structure, so last week we were supposed to talk about part of this, but let me quickly look at it briefly. And we've already looked at this structure also as well last week. So background or position. That is what you write in the introduction, right? In your introduction, you are showing the background, what is already done. Why is this important? And you are also introducing the problem statement there. This is the problem, and that problem is leading you to why you need to set a research questions or hypothesis that will use to investigate that problem. Do you understand? Yeah. Now, Next is you also need to look at what are the aims and the aim and thesis of an article. We'll look at what thesis is later. So what are the aims and the thesis of an article? The article you want to write, what is the heart of it? Why are you writing it? What is the heart of it? So what is the thesis of it? So that is, again, in this part, before you get to method of research, there's something that we're supposed to have there. So you have what we call literature review, right? Originally, in any academic work, it's beyond almost every part of your work requires a literature review. Almost every part of it requires a literature review, from introduction to theoretical background or to empirical and a part, or to generally. In the literature, it is not only the part where a master's student or undergraduate student term or tagged as literature review is where we do literature review. Literature review begins from the beginning till even the conclusion of a paper or thesis. Meaning you will be talking about an existing knowledge, what has been done. You will be corroborating or be supporting your work with the work that has been done. Or you will be arguing against a work that has been done. So you are not free from reviewing generally in anything called academic writing. So when they say it's an academic writing and we expect you, we are saying that from the moment any assertion is coming into your head, it's important for you to find an existing work that you can use to support it. Is it clear? So that's what academic writing is looking at. So when you look at what we call literature, literature review. So in the part of the one that you are mostly you understand as literature review. So you have what we call empirical literature review, right? The one that you are looking at the works that they really go into a field and conducted, right? You are looking at a theoretical literature review, the one that you use a theory to guide that particular assertion or that particular work, that this particular theory defines, and it looks at these particular areas, and it can be used to justify or to guide it generally. So literature review, you can have what we call theoretical there, right? So in this area, when you move from there, you are going into what we call method. What method do you use to conduct a particular research, right? What method did you use to conduct this particular research? So method varies from different angles. Method varies from different angles. So generally, to the common one that students know, so students will say we have what we call quantitative or qualitative, or some will be looking at what they said mixed method, right? So regardless, these are the most common one, and we can find most of our method around this. But saying qualitative or quantitative is even too big. It is vague because it needs to be broken down. It needs to be breaking down to know what types of quantitative you're talking about, what types of qualitative you're talking about. So that's another one. So methodology is the next of it. After method, you are going to work on the result of your research, because you conducted a research and you are bringing it down to what are the results you brought from that comes out of that particular research, right? After that, what do you need next? You're going to discuss the results. Discussion. So in the part of the discussion, you're going to analyze. After analyzing it, you get your result. From your results, you're discussing. You're discussing the relevance of this research with an existing research. The research that has come before that shows a gap in knowledge, because the reason we say it's important for you, please, if you are online and you are not muted, kindly mute yourself. Kindly mute yourself, please. I think I found where we can. That's. I need to mute everyone first, so we can be able to concentrate. It seems everyone are muted now. Okay. Please, when you join, kindly mute yourself, please. Please. Thanks. Moving on. So we're talking about the structure of an academic writing. So we've talked about the background, where you write your introduction, where you give a background of the knowledge, where you discuss the relevance of that particular work, and you move to it has to have the aim or the thesis of it. The thesis is a heart, is the guiding map of that particular thesis. Why do you comment on this writing? So the aim of it. And we said after that, you should have what we call the literature review. And I said, the one you know as literature review does not mean that you don't do literature review in almost every part of an academic writing. From introduction till conclusion, literature reviews requires, and it's important. The more you review, the more you support your work, the more your work becomes more stronger and can be easily acceptable, right? Okay, so, and results of your research, right? And we talk about discussion. In the discussion, what do you do in discussion? Is that you are looking at your results, and you are also using your results to, you are discussing it with other existing research that looks or that have conducted something closer or similar. Maybe they didn't cover the part you are looking at, because that is the reason you go into your research in the first place. We don't just go into a research just because it is an important or it is something you feel it's important. This topic is important. This topic is, I'm passionate about this topic. It's not just because you are passionate about the topic. It's about the fact that there is a gap in knowledge. And gap in knowledge can come in different forms. It is not only because someone didn't cover it. It may be because they didn't cover it enough. It may not also be just because they didn't cover it enough. It can also be just because they did not cover a particular area or a particular country or a particular ethnic group. So do you understand? So that in doing that, it makes that particular area you want to cover will definitely make a difference from the existing ones, meaning they have something that makes them different from that another side, and you want to see from another angle. So it's not, when we say literature review, for many young master's students, or they'll think that it's all about you criticizing someone's work. No, it's not about we criticizing someone's work. It is about you are reading. In order for you, there was a language I used last time. When we say literature review, it simply means standing on the shoulders of the giant. There are people who have done extensive work. You want to learn from their mistakes. You want to learn from their positive, from their good work, how they put it. Sometimes we read some literature just for us to understand how to also put works effectively, to understand the way they are formats of writing properly, not just also because we want to just use it for references or citation. So master student or younger and what do we call it then, postgraduate student, thinks that when they said do literature review, or they think it's simply that I must reference, it's just for me to mention his name. Not only that, sometimes you are not even using any papers you just read. You just read it for inspiration. You just read it to guide you. You just read it to give you some clarity on a particular subject. Not necessarily that sometimes for academic, for people in academia, we may read more than 30, more than 100 papers and end up using only 35 or 40. So literature review. So audience analysis. We talked about audience analysis last week. That's the importance of it, especially for academic writing. What do we say? Audience analysis can often lead you to an effective strategies for reaching your readers. When you analyze them, what do they want? What do they need? And for any master's student, I said it last week, that your first audience is your supervisor. Because nobody will know your work except your supervisor shared it with someone, or when you are done with defending and you're sharing with someone. For a PhD student, by this first year, second year, you are required to publish some paper in order for you to be able to defend. Then a particular journal or the editor of those journals and your supervisors are your audience. It means you need to take your time in understanding the process or the rules of a particular journal in which you want to submit your paper. That is part of analyzing your audience. So I am a PhD student, I am a master's student, I want to publish in this particular journal, and I know that my audience primarily are these people who are going to accept my work, meaning the rules of the journals must be adhered to. When I understand it and I followed it, they will accept my paper and they will be able to publish it for the secondary audience. But your first or primary audience are the editors of the journal, your supervisors. That's why it's important for you to understand who are your audience and what are they asking for. Your supervisor or your tutor will keep on asking, go back until you do this exact way I want it. It's your audience. That's what your audience wants. Or else your work will not be accepted or may be rejected, or you won't be able to defend the work you want to defend. All right, next. So a writer whose purpose was to encourage college, let's leave that. Abstract. So another part when you are structuring, especially a journal article, is what we call abstract. Abstract. May I ask, what is an abstract for some of our colleagues online or someone in here? If you're ready, you can raise your hand. And for those who are online, you can also raise your hand. What is an abstract? And what are some of the components of an abstract? Quick one, please. We can either raise our hand or we can equally drop the response in the chat. What is an abstract? What is abstract? Okay, Adiagbo, please. Then Tosho will be after Adiagbo.
Okay, thank you very much. When we say abstract, we mean a summary of a piece of academic writing. Whether it is thesis, whether it is dissertation, the general summary of that academic work is what we refer to as abstract. And typically, we normally have component like it contains up to about 300 words. Mostly, they ask you to put it in indent. And it contains, like I've said, summary. When we say summary, you have the methodology that you use, the theoretical framework sometimes, the conclusion that you reach, and I mean the conclusion, the summarization of the findings and your recommendation. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, next. Is it Okobi or is it not online? If not, then Ibrahim Hadi can go ahead. Okay, Ibrahim Hadi, please.
Good afternoon. When we are talking of abstract is all about the summary on summary. So is the summary of what describe or explain what particular research study is all about. So right from the beginning, whenever someone is cite at the abstract, at least if we have little knowledge of what the particular research work is all about, with the little time that person spent on reading the abstract. That's my point.
Oh, okay, thanks a lot. Do we have anyone in the room who wants to talk about abstract? Okay, and Kwatu.
Okay, abstract is like the talking about is a summary, but also is introduced for your whole article. And the framework of your abstract is also the same framework your academic writing. And you need to get some keyword from your academic writing and put in your abstract. And abstract is very important things for your reader, because that's the first thing is except the topic your audience, your readers supposed to see. You must make your abstract can attract people to continue read your article.
All right, Okay, thank you, Quattro. Quattro is one of our students from China. Okay, I will elaborate and let me quickly take the two, and I have Tosha Opobi again, and then Adebayo Osman. So Tosha Opobi quick, then Adebayo Osman, then I will clarify, we'll just round it up there so we can move on. Tosha Opobi, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
From abstract covers all the essential academic elements of the full length of the paper, namely introduction, aim, problem statements, uniqueness of the paper, the materials and method, results, and conclusion.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Adebayo Osman.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much. An abstract is a snapshot of a research work, which usually summarizes the work. It gives a description of what the work entails to the reader. It is the first thing the reader sees that gives that describes and gives a little detail without going into complete details. So it is used to describe all of what was done. It's in the research work, and it is used to give what the researcher arrives at. And the researcher goes into the work to see all of the process and how everything was done. So most importantly, an abstract is used to introduce the work to the reader.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. You've all covered different components or aspects of an abstract from your angle. The major thing we need to know is that even though it looks or sound like a summary, but it's not a summary. We want to say just like summary. It's actually, so you can say like, it's not summary, it's close to that. But I can say that if you say the description, an overview of your entire work, and when someone like Quattro was saying something earlier about why it's important, he just quickly connected to the importance of it, because when you have a very good abstract, it's easily connect to readers and makes the readers to be ready to read or to know whether this is relevant to me or not. If you do not have a concise, a clear, a very good abstract, then the reader, even if you have a good work, the reader may end up dropping it. Same thing will go with even the editor. Okay, someone says an overview of a paper depicting, yes, I'll go with that too, the salient point in which a reader gets details about a paper. So you just get a summary or get an overview to understand what, because in abstract, you briefly get a basics of the background. You basically get what method were used to conduct it. You basically get what are some results and an overall result. What are the results? What is it reflecting? And at the end of it, you're also getting something that is telling you some basic recommendation in it. So that's what abstract does. Okay, let me quickly read this last one so we can move on. From Habiba Muhammad Sani. An abstract is the general overview of the write-up, which entails little background, yes, major findings, like we said, right? Recommendations and conclusion. It does not necessarily need the aim, yes. It doesn't need objectives. It doesn't need method. Thanks a lot for this submission and the contribution. So let's move on. So we now understand what abstract is, and we know abstract is important for academic paper, especially a journal one, the one you're submitting. For most of our students here in Russian Federation, when you're writing your master's thesis, it's important to write an abstract before going into the introduction. Even though, when do we write abstract? Some people think that, yes, you can write abstract at the beginning. You can't really write abstract at the beginning. It's the best to finish everything, then you can write. Because if we are saying you need to write the general result, to write some recommendation, to write some to write some basic background, it means you need to finish your work before you can be able to capture that. Someone says 250 words. Yes, it depends. It usually starts from at least 250 to 300, but maximum that anyone or any journal or any conference usually ask for almost about 500 words, conferences. But most journal will ask for between 250 to 300 words. Another most important thing that Quattro mentioned earlier, I will acknowledge that, is that at the end of an abstract, there are keywords. There are keywords. Keywords are important. Why are keywords important? It is also like those who use, what do we call it? The keywords for Google search engine. So the tag, because it's easy for you or for anyone to easily find that particular paper that is connected to what they are looking for. So keywords, 5 keywords that are strong, one, connected, that are part of the work itself are to be used under the abstract. So let's move on. Okay, we'll now look at this component now. So what we want to do today is to look at what we call organizing text. We'll talk about organizing text last week. We'll talk about it, but we'll talk about it briefly. Then we'll move to what we call avoiding plagiarism and acknowledging sources. How do you avoid the plagiarism and what plagiarism is, and how do you acknowledge necessary or the sources you've cited in your work? Right. Okay. But before I move on, is there any question or comment on the previous class? And before we move on, if there is, you can raise your hand, then we can quickly look at that, then we'll move on. Okay, Adiad Muhammed, please. I can see the hand there.
Yes, thank you so very much, sir. I have a question regarding what you just explained, sir. This abstract of a thing, sir. You said it is not important, or we can't even write it at the beginning of the work, but we've come across some lecturers or some supervisors that demand that their supervisee write an abstract before any other thing. It has never happened to me, but it happened to somebody, and he found it very difficult to come up with. So my question now is, if a lecturer or a supervisor demands that you write an abstract, what exactly is he expecting? Before you write another thing, after submitting your thesis, he's asking for is for you to go and write an abstract. So number one. Right. Number two is it necessary to have an in-text? Thank you, sir.
Come again with the second question. Is it necessary to have an in-text what?
Citation.
Citation, okay.
In an abstract.
So first, okay, in an abstract. Okay, now, good one. The first one regarding the question about your supervisor, the first answer to that is knowing what your audience wants. So your supervisor wants you to write, that's a requirement. Why? He's telling you that he's not asking for a project and a proposal, a project proposal, because he may not have time to really read it. And he wants to see how you can summarize your project proposal in an abstract format. Does that sound well? Adiado. So
yes, I'm with you, sir.
Yes, if you look at the key structures of a proposal, you will be able to compile and compress them in an abstract. You will see that even that supervisor will not be asking for 250 or 300 words. That supervisor will be looking for a maximum of 500 words from you. That's one. Now, when you're asking for necessary or the necessity of having an in-citation in an abstract, mostly in any standard journal, there is no need. There's not even need that you don't have citation in an abstract. But if you are submitting an abstract for maybe a conference, a paper presentation, that's why they usually ask for about 500 words. You can have it and even have a references at the end of it. They want to really see because they do not have enough time, because what you are doing for them is you are coming to present a paper. You are not submitting a paper to be published. I don't know if that answers your questions too.
Yes, sir. But your response to the first question, sir, the supervisor expected is for you to compress your proposal, which usually comprises of chapter 1 to 3, into an abstract. Does that mean that the supervisor is going to do away with some component of an abstract, like the findings?
Okay. Yes, there is possibility because you're yet to defend, you're yet to even conduct anything, but you're going to talk about the method in which you're going to use to conduct. It means in that sense of that. In abstract, we talk from past tense, we used, conducted. But in the case of the type of abstract is asking for, you were saying you're going to use this also kind of method will be used to do this, and this is the type of the result you are expecting, even though it is a superior an hypothesis. But it depends. I will not ask a student to really write an abstract. I may ask you to write a summary of a research proposal. And but if someone is asking something like that, my idea or my suggestion is to use research and proposals and templates and find a way to just capture. Does not mean that you are writing in thoroughly. You're just giving almost every brief or part of it and putting them together to make an abstract for the person.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You're most welcome. Okay, next, and I think we have okay, the hand, Ibrahim Hadi. Then we'll have the last one. I think I have another hand there. Ibrahim Hadi, is your hand still up? Then if not, then we can move on. You have a question? Okay. Okay, Quattro, you can ask the question.
It's from China. So when I do research, I read some academic writing in Chinese, write about Chinese. They always have the director for the article. But at the same time, I read some article from the research gate, such as your article or Bela's article. You don't use.
Use what?
The directory.
Directory?
Yes.
Okay.
So is this, will we use this or is it not important?
In an academic writing, you don't need directory, you don't need anything. You just, the major thing about it is that if it is about a paper you want to publish, it means you have to study what are the formats, what are the requirements of that journal. So some journal, if it's in China, like you said, if they ask for it to put a directory in it, it means you have to put it for them. So meaning for every writer, an academic writer, you need to study, again, your audience. And I said your audience, your supervisor, the journal in which you're going to write for will tell you what their audience wants. That's why it's important that it's not enough to have a good work, a good academic paper. It's also important for you to study what a particular journal you're going to send it to. If you send a wrong one, even if your work is good, it will be rejected because it does not suit the need of your audience. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, quick one. Jawondo Madia, is your hand still up? If it is, please come up and come in, please. Okay, we'll have to lower the hand so we will know that there's no hands up. Jawondo Madia, are you online? Okay, so let's move on. So today we look at organizing texts and avoiding plagiarism. And so when we talk about organizing text, so last week we've talked about it. We said organizing text. One is that information is presented to your readers in a structured format, right? That's why it's important to organize it. What structure? We've talked about different structure earlier. The introduction, the literature. So that you know that this is where you're going. But beyond this one, you see, there are structure even inside your writing. That's where we talk about some key areas. We talk about how it has to be flow. So flow sequence, the way you are starting and ending one and moving to another one, you have to arrange them well. You don't just mix. You've talked about a particular idea up there, and you are talking about another idea here, then you are repeating another idea from one, again in third one, where you're supposed to start the third idea. So that's also important. So it does not matter whether it's an academic writing or not. Every piece of writing requires a proper structure and formatting, right? Academic writing, like we said, we've talked about it, that it has a patterns. So look at it. In the case of it, we talked about it last week, that you have to look at what we call the description of the situation. That's where the background comes, where your introduction is. You're describing the issue, the problem, where it has happened, what they've done somewhere. You are giving us an overview, description of a situation. Next, you are moving into identification of a problem. That is why in some paper and most paper you will see is either it's embedded in introduction as what we call statement of problem, or it will be separate immediately after the introduction as statement of problem. So you can see it clearly. It's important for you to identify a problem, because when there is no problem, why are you conducting the research in the first place? And again, I said a problem may not be necessarily be something that has never happened or something that they didn't do well. It may be something that needs an update. It may be something that needs to be done in another areas where they've not conducted it, but has a particular pattern in order for you to understand the differences. Right? And after that, you are describing a solution. That these are some solutions. From describing solution, you are looking at it from what tools you want to use to describe the solution. Before I even get into the tools, you have a theoretical review. Your theoretical review is giving you what solutions could be used from some existing theory that is connected to this particular problem. Right? That's what description of a solution is saying. So description of the solution is giving you an area from the theoretical literature review, from existing literature review, from empirical literature review, right? From conceptual literature review. So those are the key three common ones. Conceptual, what are the concepts? How did they define it? What are the types of it, right? Theoretical, what can we use to guide it, right? Empirical, what work they've done before that they really go onto the field and they conducted it directly, right? So you're using them. Through them, you can see some solutions from them when you are describing. And you're moving to the method to what type of tool you want to use to find a solution to the problem that you've described or identified. And from there, you are going to evaluation of the solution. We found this solution from the analysis of the result. And that's why we said, while you are evaluating, it's important for you to also do what we call discussion. By using your new result, judging it, comparing it with an existing work, where it has solved it, or where it comes together, or where they differ. So these are typically how a good academic writing is expected to be structured or organized. Any question on organizing? Because I think I'm moving to, okay, I have an example here. Let's look at something here. Okay, let's look at this writing and see how structured, just general writing. It is not even from academic writing, just a kind of a general writing. So the writing, look at it. It said, thank you for your interest in our university. On behalf of the Dean of the Graduate School, I congratulate you on being accepted to the program in Aerospace Engineering to begin study at the master level. This letter is your official authorization to register for fall 1994. As a reflection of the importance the graduate school places on the ability of its students to communicate effectively, the graduate school requires all the new students whose native language is not English to have their English evaluated. Specific detail for this procedure are given in the enclosed information. We look forward to welcoming you to Mid-Western University and wish you success in your academic career, sincerely. So, meaning every piece of writing must have a structure. And we already showed the structure that's expected in academic writing. That's what? From where? What are the four? Who can remind me? The four one we talk about, the first one. What do we do with the problem? Description of the problem. Identification of the problem. What is the third one? Yes, what type of solution comes first? Description of the solution and evaluation of solution. So that is from the academic writing angle, where you have what we call introduction, literature review, and method, the discussion, recommendation, conclusion, recommendation, and all those. But in the case of general writing, it's saying that when in this writing, the thank you is acknowledgement. So in a typical writing for maybe an official one that's for an admission letter, this is how it goes. It goes with acknowledging your work, acknowledging your letter. It gives you the good news. If it is bad news, they tell we are sorry, we cannot offer you this. Then it goes to administrative details. Then they move to closing or welcoming close. They close it by telling you that, okay, thank you, we look forward to that. So every piece of writing requires structure or organization. Another thing that is important in structuring your work is that drafting a thesis work. We mentioned something about thesis work earlier. That's the heart of your work. So as you explore topic and identify questions to investigate, you will begin to see possible ways to focus on your material. When you have it, it tells you what you need. How do you get them, right? So the thesis statement, they also call it, they said it is the guiding map of your work when you have thesis statement, because it shows what you want to do. And it gives you the rooms to, it tells us how you have even structured your work or what are things that should go in your work. So a thesis statement is often one or more of the following. That is to answer the questions you have posed. You have some questions in the normal writing, or you have what you call research questions in your academic writing. To use this question to ask to what extent as gender bias is growing in these particular areas of China, right? So you want to use it to, it shows us, tells us how you answer the questions you've posed. The resolution of a problem you have identified, and a statement that takes a position on a debate topic. It stands on a particular debate topic. That is, this is where I am, and this is what we are looking at. So that is for drafting a thesis work. Okay, we have to move on for those who are trying to join for now. Okay, so as you rough out the first draft, focus your attention on idea and organization. So what idea do you have, and how are you going to organize it? You can deal with sentence structure and word choice later. So all those, how do I use a particular word? How do I structure? You can deal with them later, but these are the first part of your work. So before you begin your write, gather any pre-writing materials. So it's normal. So any young and academic things that, or let's say postgraduate student, things that when they ask me to write, I just go onto the table and start writing. So you can begin from list. You list different ideas that is coming in your head, even before formulating your research questions or your hypothesis or different areas. List different, put them together, as many as possible. Diagrams. Some people use diagram. Maybe you understand things better from the pictorial angle. So when you see it, it helps you to really connect things together. Outlines. Some people do outlines, or some people use word and some people, and so on. So Then, as well as sources that you plan to use, what are some sources you want to use? You can keep on putting the different things together. That's where you begin from. Later, you may realize that you don't need many of them. Same thing as many ideas you put on board may not be used later. But it's important to have them first, because if you don't have them on the table, you wouldn't know which one fits you or not. So our writing tends to flow better when it is drafted relatively quickly without many stops and starts. So, when you draft, when you start the draft, you just keep on writing as things come to your head. You keep on putting it together. Then you stop and you look at different things. After you've done the listing, then you see where you go. All right. So we've known that originally we have what we call the drafting of introduction. You can begin by drafting different things you want to use there. You get to the body, you know, in the body of academic writing is where you have your literature review, you have your different types of literature, then you have your all those major areas for literature. And you get into the conclusion because you're concluding from your work. So let's move on. So strategies for revising when your work writing needs to be more specific. Number one, read your topic sentence to understand the focus of the paragraph. Read your topic sentence to understand the focus of the paragraph. So you know that your topic sentence, it is the heart of it. Then you understand, that's how you know how to focus on different paragraphs that will come in it. Ask questions. Number two, ask questions. Does the paragraph contains claims that need support? So what does it mean by support? We'll get to it. That's why we're talking about plagiarism. That I wrote, I think a student of mine, I was reviewing her work, her thesis work earlier, about 2 hours ago. And I got to about, she has about 3 different paragraphs at the introduction when there is nothing, no citation, no references at the introduction. So many students doesn't know that you cannot just leave a whole paragraph when it's especially part of introduction or your literature review without supporting it. You don't just have a claim somewhere. And it's support. What does the paragraph promise? Have you provided an evidence to a particular statement or claim you make? Specific example. When you are writing, give examples, specific example, connect with it. Vivid details and illustration, statistics and fact, to help readers understand your ideas and find them persuasive. Whether academic writing or general writing, this is needed. Finally, interpret your evidence. You know, in your work, when you conduct research, you need to interpret, right? Remember that details and example don't speak for themselves. So you don't just put a table for us somewhere without explaining, without analyzing it. And after even analyzing, some people still don't understand until you discuss by comparing, synthesizing for them. That's when it will be more clear, right? You need to show readers how your evidence supports your claim. That's where I said discussion part, whether you have it as separate or you have it embedded in your results, it's important so people can easily understand it. That's why we have some of these in academic writing structure. Okay, is there any question on what we just discussed first before we move on? We will move to plagiarism now. Any questions or comments to add on? So I'll allow that quick. Adia Muhammed, please.
Yes, sir. Please, I just want to ask a question based on what you just said. Regarding when you make a statement or you write a paragraph without support, at a postgraduate level, can't a student, make a categorical statement, maybe based on his observations or maybe based on his previous ideas without a support? That is number one. You also said that you cannot leave 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs completely without support. But when you're writing, for instance, now you want to write a background of the study, or you want to write even literature review, the first paragraph together with second paragraph, maybe in some instances, can't you have that sense of, flow where you can introduce what you are about to write about? I mean, things that are coming from you yourself. So must you put, what is it called? Inter-citation in whatever you write. You cannot make any statement of your own.
I understand your point. I understand your point, where you're coming from. Thanks a lot. Your first question and second one are connected. They're almost asking same thing, even though their position are presented in different ways. The first thing is that to know that we have two types of statements when we are writing, the general one that you see. We have what we call general knowledge. General knowledge. You see, general knowledge can be used. It can be written. I know about it, you know about it, your supervisors know about it. There's no need for you to reference anything about it because it's a general knowledge. So what's an example of a general knowledge? So general knowledge is that water is colorless, right? That's a general knowledge. It's a common, everyone knows it's colorless. Or the sky is blue, right? So they are general knowledge, it can be used. But a knowledge that is not general to everyone needs to be supported with an evidence. That's because from the moment you have, based on your own ideas, look at what you said, your experience, your ideas, things you've read before. It means you picked it from somewhere. It is not yours. You picked that idea, you picked that knowledge. Along as you are growing, you may not even remember where you picked it again. But by the time you start searching, you will see some places where you found it or where someone who told you also found it. And that is exactly where plagiarism can be a problem. It can be then you're plagiarizing someone's work. So, okay, Ibrahim Hadi, yes, I'm coming. I can see that's another hand there. So that is where this is very important to be careful. Yes, at the introduction level, you will see that that's why I said literature review begins from your introduction. It's not only at the literature where people think it's literature, because from the moment you make an assertion or statement, we'll ask, what's your claim? Support your claim with something. There is a place where you can clearly also talk about something, where when you are analyzing the results of your work, because the result of your work is your personal, you can be able to write clearly that we found out, we see, and it looks like this. I observed during the particular field work, it's your work. It's things you see. Someone else will also be using it someday and must also reference your work. Okay? I see another hand there. Let me quickly check. Okay, is it Ibrahim Hadi? Quick, please.
Yes.
Ibrahim Hadi, if you're still, all right.
Yes, concerning the citation and on any particular work, especially starting from the background of the study. To me, with my experience and with so many literature I have read so far in the past, and let me start from University of Ibadan. The University of Ibadan format, whenever you are writing a dissertation or thesis, at the fourth paragraph, they don't have any business with maybe you have some self-experience or general. What they are expected, you must make a citation at the first paragraph. But along the line, recently, when I was writing some dissertation, when I was guiding some students, some master students from different university, I discovered that many of their lecturers, they said at the fourth paragraph, they don't need any citations. So what they need is their knowledge, the ideas. They must follow this particular concept or variable they are to conduct in that particular research work. That's that. And along the line, also we cannot the kind of maybe the experience, the literature we read, maybe we see it through the textbook or through the previous journals, but in some experimental work, the researcher can't stand with my experience. Researcher can stand on his knowledge. Even that knowledge, if to me, is not generally is not generally defined, but it's self-knowledge through the observations. And along the line, when the researcher wanted to maybe create some knowledge gap in the, I'm still talking about background, the researcher will still quote himself that through the in-depth observation, for instance, the child resilience in the community, through the in-depth observation, I discovered that some child in the Medina Gausibi community, they have some traumatic experience due to the flood. They have a traumatic experience due to the ignorances of the parent, because some of the parents, they believe that exposing the child to some certain play can make them a rebellion, can turn them to hooligans, can make them become a donor and all that. But as a researcher, when the researcher, they are making some observation that through this is also thing, this is what I'm observed, this is what is making, this is what contributed to the problem of hindering the resilience skill of the children in the community. For me, with my experience so far, the researcher can cite, and that cite can I can't refer that citation as a general knowledge, but a self observations.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot. Let me quickly take this.
Excuse me, can I say something regarding what you said? Sorry.
Before you, please. You come in. Let's him go first. Oluwafemi.
Yeah, right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I wanted to say something. What you said.
I want to ask questions.
Okay, you will, please. Okay, Oluwafemi, quick.
Relating to that introduction of a thing, I'm thinking like if you're having a new idea, let's say something that is happening new, and you want to bring it to board, like you want to say it like in a paragraph or two, like something that is a structural change in the economy, let's so to say, like you want to bring it to board, like you want people to know that these are things that are happening now, and must you put a citation, maybe something that is happening in your community or your environment that are new, that have not been done elsewhere, must you cite in that particular area? And in the aspect of interpretation of evidence, let's assume you have a pictorial evidence, you have a chart evidence, and how do you explain to people, to the reader, that pictorial evidence? Maybe you got that pictorial evidence from your field work, the question you have gathered and asked the audience, and you are putting it into your work. How do you explain that in a understandable manner, in a comprehensive manner that they will understand, the readers will understand? That's my question, sir.
Okay. I'll go quick so I can. I don't want to miss the point.
Okay, sir. All right, sir. The reason why I asked the question in the first place, I think, has been addressed by the person that spoke before this previous person. In our school, Ahmadu Bello University is area, though it is not part of the rule specifically that when you write, maybe in the first paragraph you must cite or you must not cite. But when we have seminars, they usually advise us, they usually encourage us that at least in the first, second paragraph, you should flow. Let us have your idea too. At the level of master's, postgraduate studies, you should be able to also have that ideas and you should be able to contribute it. If it is at the level of undergraduate, first degree, they may not accept that kind of contribution from you. But at the level of postgraduate, you also have a certain level of contribution that you can make that would be acceptable with that citation. That is why I asked the question, because you said you won't have a paragraph without having a citation or support. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot. First, let me pick it from there. When you're talking about introduction and you're talking about paragraphs, you remember we are saying paragraphs are of different. Paragraphs could be, it means you're not talking about one sentence again. And I'm not saying that you can't have a sentence that is of yours that you're using to establish something connecting to others. I'm saying a whole paragraph that's a compound, complex paragraph. That if it's too much, when we're having about 5, 6, 7 sentences or 3, 4, 5 sentences, there's a need for you to support something. Now, let's look at something. Let me give you a hint. What can be done? And the hint is this. What you can do in the case of this, I like the ideas where Ahmed and Ibrahim Hadi and Adi Agbo also mentioned about the requirements of some universities. Yes. Like I said, like you said, we also pardon many master's students from that angle. We don't, if we are to mark master's students or final year undergraduate students according to how academic writers should be written, many will have failed. That's a fact. Many students will fail. But we encourage that. But what we do in the case of that is that I'm encouraging you that we're talking about general because I know we have audience of various backgrounds here. I have those who are my PhD colleague in this room. I've seen some of them here. We have those who are PhD students in this room. It has to be, while I'm presenting this to you, it has to be a concrete and a standard one. So if you're a master's student and it's allowed in your own is to find a way to bring it down. What I'm saying is that the best in a way to put any assertion together that is not a general knowledge is for you to find something to support it. It does not mean you cannot flow and write from the beginning. By the time you finish, you write and you could see it's clear, it could be accepted. If you think you can do extra work and add on to it to make it more of stronger, good, it will be best for you. It means you are not limiting yourself that later you may be required to do. It means you prepare yourself from the biggest and from the strongest angle rather than from that angle. I'm not saying it is not accepted. If it's accepted in your university, it is. Yes, we do accept it, we do overlook. Overlook is different from is it totally accepted in high standard journal. I will tell you there are many journals, they will return it through the reviewer. Who are the reviewer? The reviewers are the same writers that write for that particular journal for many times and that has understood the process of that journal and what that journals want. That's why they choose them to be the reviewer, right? So again, I agree that some universities will accept it and we can overlook some master's students at some levels, it's accepted. But from the moment it's more than 2 sentences and 3 sentences, and it is not a place where you are analyzing your work or describing your own work, it's not really, it's not acceptable. It will be asking, where did you get it? You said you got it from your fieldwork. We are not saying you cannot cite yourself. If your work is something we can be able to find, cite it. And you can talk like what Adi said. Yes, it is possible. And there's a paper I think I wrote some. In fact, a new paper just come out today. But before this new paper, in another paper, I've cited my own personal experiences in teaching some students across different West African countries. My personal observation from them. But it doesn't mean it will begin the work. I'm connecting it with an existing work, showing how it's connected and what I've seen. So when you have enough references, enough evidence, it's easy for you to be able to connect just personal one also to it. Because even if you are doing that, you can also flow by adding your own understanding of a particular research work. Okay? Okay, I can see there's no, please, sorry, because we are unable to really spend much time on this. I hope I'm able to answer, and I forgot his name. He asked a question, and I missed responding to that question. Sorry about that. You can drop your question later if you think I didn't answer your question. Please, you can drop it later so we can let's move on because of time. Okay, so let's move on. The next is so plagiarism. Plagiarism. So, but before we go, I want you to quickly look at this task. For those who are ready to respond, but I want almost every one of you to reply this. Maybe you can, but let's take it one after the other. Let me look at it. 1, 2, 1, 2. Coming. So it means this is part of F. How many?
10.
It's 15. Okay. Now how many of the following cases do you think will be regarded as plagiarism? I want you to take your time. We can spend up to 5 minutes on it. You can write it. You can note it by saying A, B, C, D, E, F in the chat if you're ready to respond. And for those who are ready to, I think it's better we quickly look at it, and I'll just call, you can raise your hand and I'll call your name if we can just talk about it and give an clarity and explanation on it. You can raise your hand on that. But I want you to look at this. Let's spend 3-5 minutes on it. So if you have your paper there, if you are with your system, you can just use A, B, C to have the response on them. How many of the, let me see, do I have, yes. So, no, not yet. So plagiarism, wait a bit. I made a mistake by changing not the first slide. Plagiarism, what is plagiarism? I'll be happy to share some responses from the online and offline. What is plagiarism? Piracy. Okay. Plagiarism. Those who are online, please. Plagiarism.
Plagiarism is copying the work of others without acknowledging them.
Okay. Taking someone's works without acknowledging their effort, their work.
Yes.
Okay. And Daniel, what did you say? Okay, using someone's work or idea without giving proper credit. Any other responses there, or did we drop anything in the chat? Let me check the chat. I think I've seen the chat. I will leave the task for you for for 5 minutes so we can look at it. Plagiarism. Okay. Please kindly mute yourself if you're not contributing to the class now. Kindly mute yourself, please. Okay, let's quickly look at the definition of plagiarism. Plagiarism generally, the scholars define it as what? They said it's a Latin word to kidnap someone. So if you plagiarize, it means you are a kidnapper. How many kidnappers do we have in this room, online and offline? So if you ever plagiarize someone's work, for many that most master students does, it means you are a kidnapper. So what type of kidnapper are you is the question, right? So plagiarism from the Latin we call it kidnap, and it simply means a theft of ideas. So meaning many postgraduate students or master students are thieves. So if you're asking who is a thief in this room, many should be raising their hand that I think I am a thief, right? So plagiarism is the representation of another person's works as your own, to present another person's work as your own, and you write it perfectly. You put it down, and you either claim you don't know where it's coming from, or you saw it and you put it without writing where you got it. There are three main reasons of why you should not do this. We'll look at that later. And Isaac Newton said this, that when we say that when you review a work, you are standing on the what? The shoulders of the giant, like I said earlier, but and rely on the works of others, giving appropriate credit to sources is essential. So it's okay to stand on the giant of the shoulders, as we said. Yes, stand on the giant, on the shoulders of the giants, but you need to give appropriate credit to them. I got it from here. I got it from this. So let's see how it goes. So now let's go back to our task, please. Let's do the task and put the answers in the chat. It's this task is compulsory for everyone. So you do your task. For those who are in the classroom, you will do it in your paper. You submit it to me now, and I will also listen to you if you have your answers with you. And for those who are online, I'm timing us now. I'm timing us now. 5 minutes, please. Maximum. Please, you can start. And if you have your answers, you can drop them in the chat. Please mute yourself. Please. No, to mute?
No, yes, I can help.
It's hanging. I know.
You can check the.
You want to mute? To mute?
No, I can tell you how to find who's making.
I know how to do that. Thank you. Maybe our internet or something is causing a problem because it's lagging. I think we don't know what happened to the internet, but it's obvious there's a problem.
We are with you, Doc.
Oh, are you online?
Yeah, we are with you.
I thought there's a problem with the internet.
No, we are with you, sir.
Okay, I said we should work on the task, and we have only 2 minutes left.
Some of us have dropped our responses on the chat.
This system. Okay, I've seen it. Still, it's kind of, okay, I know what to do. Okay, if you can hear me, let's go with this. Let's start discussing the results. Okay, I've seen it here. Okay. Yes, I'm still having problem with my screen here. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay, let me take it from those who submitted earlier. So we have a response from Olabi Folashade. So Olabi Folashade said that it is what? A, B, C, D, E, F. So we said, how many of the following cases do you think will be regarded as plagiarism? So what is A? A says changing some of the words and sentences in a text, but keeping the overall. Changes some of the words and sentences, but keeping the overall. And B, overall structure of the text and vocabularies the same as in the original text. Yes, that is correct. B, and taking some short fixed phrases from several different sources and putting them together with some of your own words. So that is also okay. And C, okay, it is A, B, C, D, E, and I. Okay. C, copying a paragraph directly from the source with no changes. D, copying a paragraph, making only small changes. For example, replacing some words with words and with words with similar meanings. E, copying an article from a journal, website, or textbook and submitting it as your assignment. This one is the big offense, a very big one. And included I, taking just one word or phrase from a text because it is very well expressed. Now, let's look at what she left out, maybe, and I'll look at the others. So G, paraphrasing a paragraph, rewriting the paragraph. I think I'm back. Hello? Hello?
Okay, I can hear you.
Yes,
Sorry, yes, we can hear you now.
All right, all right. I don't know. Suddenly it just logged me out. I don't know what happened. A moment, please. A moment, please.
We can hear you.
Yes, yes, I know. I'm just connecting something here. Okay, I think we can continue. And I'm just reviewing that. I don't know if you hear, we were reviewing the answer of someone, Owolabi, I think.
Yes.
Yes. We're reviewing the answer.
Yes, sir.
And I acknowledge everything because okay, let me share the screen again so we see. Okay. All right. Connecting. Because we don't have time, we have only less than 30 minutes now. Okay, so according to this response, so we said A, so do we think B is also part of it? Yes, B. Taking some short fixed phrase from several different sources and putting them together with some of your own words. So you just put I believe that some of our colleagues some people may want to argue against this, that you only pick something from different phrases, taking some short fixed phrases from several different sources. So here, and putting them together with some of your own words. Yes, it can be done, but still you are not clear out of what do we call it? Plagiarism. It's some people's work, and as you put those phrases together, you can also cite all of them together. You can cite them since they are not your original work. So that's why I'm going with A, B, I'm going with the C, I'm going with the D, I'm going with E, which is even the biggest problem there. And I also go with the J, right? With the J. So J2 is yes, taking just one word or phrase from a text because it's very well expressed. And so cutting and paste, F, a paragraph, using sentences of the original, but putting one or two in different orders and leaving one or two out. You still cut someone's work. So which are we saying is free of plagiarism? Paraphrasing and paragraph. One, quoting a paragraph by placing it in a quotation. And do we think I can go with it as free from plagiarism?
Yes.
Okay, please,
No.
why?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, I hear one no, one yes. Okay, the yes, why?
It's only H that is.
Okay. Okay. All right. Owolabi Folashade.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want to say something, right?
The H says, quoting a paragraph by placing it in quotation marks and acknowledging the source. It simply means that you are giving credit to the work that is trying to say that it is not your work, that you got it from somewhere. So that is totally free from plagiarism.
It is free from plagiarism. That's correct. Okay. And rewriting a passage from a source and presenting it as your own work, it's plagiarism. taking just one word or phrase is plagiarism. So which we will say G and H are not, right? Are we all on the same page on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, generally. Let's move on.
Yes, sir.
So we've defined plagiarism, and now, when we say acknowledging sources, you can see what we are saying in plagiarism is saying that you should acknowledge sources. Where did you get an idea? Where did you get a word? Where did you get this? Acknowledge sources, right? Why is it important? Why is it important? Right. So acknowledging sources, there's the need to acknowledge sources of an idea unless it's a common knowledge. You remember earlier I said there are common knowledge. The common knowledge is that water is colorless, right? So if it is not, you have to find a way. Except even if it's your personal observation, you have to give us a record of that particular observation for those who are explaining something related to that earlier. Okay, in this social year or this particular group of people, I observed this, I saw this, that, but even that, it has a limit to where you can use them and parts of your work where you can use them. So if you borrow from one or from or refer to work of another person, you must show that you have done this by providing correct acknowledgements. So how do you do that? Number one, a summary and citation. Like what we look at, the two, we have G and H, right? One is talking about how you summarize the work, then you cite the person. So look at the example. Smith, 2009, claims that the modern states wields power in new ways. Look at that. So what this person did was to summarize. The person picked a whole idea, summarize it and put it in a very simple one, but cited the person. Quotation and citation. You can pick, but when your quotation is bigger, it's getting to like very big paragraph, you need to find a way to summarize it. So there is a limit to when you can quote. It is not about using a whole big paragraph and say you are quoting, except in some part of exploratory research. They do that. And when they are doing that, it means you want to use that particular statement, a whole one, you want to analyze it thoroughly. You're analyzing the work and talking about what you have in it, not because you're using it in a whole work by just placing it in there. Is it correct? So an example, according to Smith, the point is not that the state is in retreat, but that it is developing new forms of power. Smith 2009, the page is 103. These in-text citations are linked to a list of references at the end of the main text. Remember? So when you have this, then you have your references at the end of that. So that is it for acknowledging our sources. So some points. Here are some tips on making sure you provide the necessary acknowledgements in assignments. How do you do that? Number one, take notes. Take notes in your own word as far as possible. When you are reading that particular paper, you take notes of your works. Be taking notes of them, be writing them, be putting them together. So take notes. When you take notes, it means while you were reading us at that time, you were picking different ideas from that way. And when you put them together, it does not become yours. It's still that person's work. You only need to put together to use. So a good strategy is what? One, read, put away your books and think, and then write your notes. You take notes, then you put your notes, you put the book itself away, then you put your notes, you put it together without looking at that book again. If you do want to use a direct quotation, make clear to yourself in your own notes that it is an extract from the original text. So you need to make it clear. Write down the references details so you won't forget. From the moment you are reading and you are quoting and you forget where you got it, it becomes a problem again. So write the reference details and page number. It helps you to easily find it again, track it. This will help you to avoid accidental plagiarism because you may end up giving the works of another person. That's another plagiarism. When you copy from your own notes, so you can also copy from your notes without referencing the person, even though you intended to, but you forgot, you don't know. You think it's your own writing, or you mix it a quotation, you mix it with the notes you are taking. You think you have already done the work. When you use an idea, when you use ideas of other people, follow the conventional systems for citing and referencing their ideas at the relevant points in your assignment. When you use ideas of other people, follow conventional systems for citing and references. What are the conventional? Maybe they are talking about APA, they're talking about MLA or Chicago, so it depends. So conventional, general one, so you can easily find it. This will make, inside your text and in the references, this will make it impossible for anyone to accuse you of cheating or stealing someone else's work. It will also help you to develop your research skills. So when you do some of this, it helps you to develop your own research skills. So these are some ways or tips for you to avoid plagiarism and acknowledge people's work, right? So degree of plagiarism. This is, I think this should be our final task. Yes, we're running up already because I'm trying to manage that time to ensure that it's just our 2 hours. Degree of plagiarism. I'm trying to check. A moment, please. Okay, so you can work alone or work with a partner for those who are offline. Guys, for those who are offline, you can work together or you can work alone. So consider the following academic situation and decide if they are plagiarism. They are 1 to 10. Don't worry about the other numbers. You can number them when you are responding in the chat for those who are online. But for those who are online too, if there's any question now, please, you can raise your hand and ask. But this is our final task on the plagiarism and acknowledging sources. Working with the partner. So number 1, copying a paragraph, but changing a few words and giving a citation. Cutting and pasting a short article from a website with no citation. Taking 2 paragraphs. This, I only need you to put yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, not the numbers, just yes, no. Okay, let's go. And I think, where is it? I need to, looking for those who are online. Okay. Okay, there's responses already. So you can just put number 1, yes, no, number 2, yes, no, number 3, yes, no. Let's go with that. Yes, someone says it, I should let him or her in. It's not me because I'm working and it's not easy to be admitting you at the same time. Okay, Adiagbo Ahmed, please. I can see your hands up.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please. Okay, Habiba Muhammed, please.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Okay. So the number 1 is copying a paragraph. It's changing a few words in a citation. That's not plagiarism. Number 2, cutting and putting a short article on the website with no citation. That is plagiarism.
Okay.
Number three. Taking two paragraphs from a classmate without citation, plagiarism. Number four. Taking a graph from a textbook, given the source, is not plagiarism.
Okay.
Taking a quotation from a source, given a citation, but not using quotation marks is plagiarism, because you're directly in with quotations, and quotations are supposed to be there with page number.
Okay. Okay. Number 6.
Using something that you think of as general knowledge, e.g., large areas of rainforest have been cut. This should be referenced because you're given a categorical statement. You're supposed to reference it. Where did you get that statement from? Then using a paragraph from an essay you wrote and had marked the previous semester without citation is plagiarism, because it's already a finished work. You have to put citation. Using the results from research, e.g. from a survey without citation, if you have already published the research, you will have to put citation. If you have not published the research, I think it's okay. Then discussing an essay topic with a group of classmates and using some of their ideas in your own work. Well, for me, I think it's not plagiarism because you were part of the discussion.
Okay.
Then given a citation.
How do you think that person will be able to do away from plagiarism? Because, okay, entire group discuss something and they put their ideas together and he decide to use it directly in his own work without saying that we were discussing with our fellow colleagues and we come up with these ideas and just use it because he was also part of it.
Well, I think because we are part of that discussion, you can use it. That's my decision, actually.
Okay.
Then given a citation for some information, but misspelling the author's name is plagiarism because you have to get the spelling of the name correctly. By misspelling that name, that misspelling might be someone else's name.
All right. Okay, thanks a lot. I think we have the second hand. Aboyeji. Is your hands no more up?
No, it's okay. It may not be related to what you are doing precisely. Is the document of the first presentation? You promised to send it to participants.
It will be sent together this week because they are here together because of the time interval. So sorry about that.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very nice. That's what I want to ask. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Adebayo Osman, quick one.
Thank you so much, sir. Copy.
Hello. Are you there, Adebayo Osman? Okay, because of time, I'll check and I'm trying to check the answers from the chat. Okay, so we say yes or no. Let's look at it together and review from what Dr. Habiba just shared with us. And of course, I also go with a lot of the one here, except that part I want us to look at, that number 9. So copying a paragraph, but changing a few words and giving a citation. So copy a paragraph, but changing a few words and giving a citation. Plagiarism or not? Is it yes or no? No. So it is not plagiarism. Why? What? So it is no, correct. Let's move on because of time. Number 2, cutting and pasting a short article from a website with no citation. Yes, plagiarism. Taking 2 paragraphs from a classmate's essay without citation. Plagiarism, yes. Taking a graph from a textbook, it's a graph. Giving the source, it's a graph, yes. It is not a plagiarism, right? Taking a quotation from a source, giving citation, but not using quotation marks. As Dr. Habiba said earlier, it is plagiarism. Because even though you copied and you cited, but there's no quotation, we don't know which part of that writing is you are citing. So it's plagiarism too. You have to do it well. Put quotation mark, put the citation, and make it simple. Okay, number 6, using some thing that you think of a general knowledge, you think, e.g., large areas of rainforest have been cut down in recent years. It's plagiarism because we don't know. If it is an evidence, you should give us where that it really happened, so we know. Using a paragraphs from an essay you wrote and I had marked the previous semester without citation, like Dr. Habiba said, it's plagiarism. You need to cite. You can say, according to the last works I did in this social place on this, then we can take it. Using the results of your own research, e.g., from a survey without citation, it is plagiarism. You can cite, you have to cite it, you can cite yourself. And discussing an essay topic with a group of classmates and using some of their ideas in your own work. That is where I really need I need your thoughts on. So you think it's plagiarism? Dr. Abiba thinks it is not. Are you saying something, Dr. Abiba?
Sorry, I forgot to mute my speaker. I'm sorry.
Okay. So it's not plagiarism. Why not?
You know, for me to say it's more depending on the relationship between us.
Okay.
So like last week, we talked about our journal article, which some of them the topic is too big. So we talk about what they should, write more detail, more narrow, and what they should write or mention in the article. Something like that.
Okay.
It's not.
So nine may be considered not, but sometimes it's better you can rather, bring in the fact that you discuss it with some other people, that the idea come from there.
That's why I said.
So, and giving a citation for some information but misspelling the author's name, it is plagiarism. So because of time, it's already 4:30 in Nigeria and 6:30 in Moscow. This is the last part of this today's presentation. If there's any questions or comments, I will allow us to do that now. And please, over to you. Questions or comments? If you have some, for those who are yet to respond to these, it's important you can take your time and respond to them. I will see them even after we've closed with the class online. So it's good as we'll check for those who participated and those who also submit the task. So questions? Okay, Anuta Rachel, please go ahead with your question, please, or comment. I can see a hands up. Is it Anuta Rachel?
Yes, please. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the privilege. So thank you for the presentation, but I still believe or hold on to the fact that 9 is plagiarism. Because
you think 9 is you think 9 is plagiarism, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why?
Because it is somebody's idea, some other people's idea. We reviewed together. So they must have gotten their source from different theories. And so it's very important that we also acknowledge.
Okay, yes. That's why I said on one hand, it's good, it's important to acknowledge that you got it from them, or you discuss it together. That's so you'll be free, totally free. Some people may argue that it is not, that because they also think they were part of that discussion. Yes, but absolutely it will be better to rather either say that it's from this discussion, or to find where they also got some of those ideas, or to find another sources that you can use to back that particular idea. Okay, let's take Adi Mohammed, please.
Okay, thank you so very much for the discussion. And I have a request. My question is, please, in a case, maybe it has been long, you have the idea, and when writing your dissertation, and you need to put the idea into the work, and you can't even remember from where you got the idea. What is your suggestion for the person? Can he go ahead with the idea and maybe look for a related idea from a different source and maybe attach it, or you should just do away with the idea completely?
Please come again with the question from the beginning. I think I missed the question from the beginning.
Okay, I said in a situation whereby you have an idea, maybe generated based on your experience or engagement with people, or you can't even figure out how you came up with the idea, or who is the original owner of the idea. So you can't repress them. Okay, so in a situation like that, and the idea is very important to your work, what is your advice for such a person? Can he go ahead with the idea? Can he include it in the work and maybe find a related idea from a different source and attach it, or you should just
that's where my response is going. So the best way is, number one, to find a related from an existing sources that you can easily add. You understand? You can easily connect. That's one. Two is to investigate whether you can still find it. But the best is to rather find another one, but never ever use it if you do not know where the source is coming from.
Okay, I'm okay with that. The request, sir, I was the one that requested the other time that you should please send us the training notes, the notes that we use. Please, you've not sent it, and it's very important that we have it for reference purpose.
You get it together with this one.
Okay.
So I said it earlier because of the interval. The interval of the class, and I myself have been on transit for some days before getting to Moscow. I just arrived to Moscow some days ago.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Elizabeth Nedabudu, right? Sorry about that, how I pronounce it, please. Elizabeth.
Yes. No problem. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I just have a question on the quotation and all of that. Are we trying to say that every time you want to cite a person, you have to put it in quotation?
No, that's not the point. We're saying it is another option to ensure you acknowledge the sources. So you either paraphrase or you quote. Those are the best two ways we avoid plagiarism. So you paraphrase in the sense that you summarize the work, and we give the list of how you can summarize them, how to read, how to take notes. I'll send the slides later to you all, or the link where you can get the slides. So one is either to paraphrase or to give a direct quote. And again, someone was saying something about a whole paragraph earlier again. A whole paragraph it has a limit to use in saying you are quoting. You can't just quote a big paragraph, except you want to use it to analyze the work. You want to use it to drive a work, but to use it within a text, within just short one, it's best to summarize it or paraphrase it, then cite it. Or If it is 1 to 2 sentences, it's easy to cite as a quotation, to use a quotation, but there must be a quotation mark in and enclosed. Okay, I think on this note, I think we'll be running up now. We need to call it a day because it's already 1, 2 hours.
Sir, if you don't mind, sir, please. Sorry.
Okay. Before
mind,
you, please. I can see a hand of Anuta Rachel, and a student of mine in the class is also raising his hand. Should we allow them to talk, to say something first?
A very fast question.
It's okay, sir. It's okay.
Let them talk.
Okay.
Let them talk. Let them talk.
Okay, Anuta, quick.
Yes. My question is, there was a time I came across something that I read that if you don't know the author, if you did not remember the author, that you can actually under reference write them as anonymous. So I don't know how true this is. You write under the name anonymous.
It is no. Okay, it is no. There is nothing like not knowing an author. Is either you don't know the author, then you drop the person totally and find another sources and find another one to use, or you find a means to still find it, to look for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, quick one, Quattro.
My question is for the people who come from another country. Is there any specific plagiarism for a plagiarism rate for the academic writing? Such like I know in China, for the master degree, you have to under 20%, for the PhD to 10%. So is there any? Now I've come from another country. So what's the request?
Oh, generally, like I said, plagiarism. The key problem about plagiarism, the key steps in avoiding plagiarism are what we discussed. It does not matter whether you are from China or from Russia or from Nigeria. But each different countries may have a particular computer or software for plagiarism check. Yes. When they are checking it, they have different, because it's a software, they set different command for it to look for specific. It may be varies, may be different, but these are key things that most of the software will look at. It may be bigger, it may be fewer, but these are ranges of it, right? Okay, and I think I see a question, please. Can someone tag my post with answer? What's your post, please? Someone is asking a question. Is this the answer to my previous question?
Yes, I was the one that dropped the question. Like, I missed that part where you're explaining the answer to the degree of plagiarism part.
Okay. I think others can respond to that. Even the charts will still be on even after we finish this class. You can check them. So, but now I need to call it today because the time I set for this is supposed to be 2 hours maximum, and I need to release us so people can go.
Excuse me.
All right.
Excuse me.
Sir, you okay?
Sir.
Can you
hear me, sir?
Say something? Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, how do I get the link to the WhatsApp group, sir, for the class?
Oh, we don't have a WhatsApp group yet for this particular program. The WhatsApp group, the one that people have been using, were for the courses we conducted in Africa in January and February. So many of them, I think about 10% of them or 20% of them belong to that group, and that's how they are talking about a particular WhatsApp group. But if we should start any WhatsApp group, I think it's better. I'll create that group and I'll send you the link via the same link you're going to use to get your presentation. What about that?
Thank you, sir. It's fine, sir.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we need to call it a day. I can see some hands. I see hands of Anuta Rachel and Adiad Mohammed. Please, let's call it a day now because of time. And we can continue. You can ask a question. I think what we'll do is that I'll create that WhatsApp group. We can start some discussion because September is still far away. We can start some discussion. We can have some online and audio voices, and we can discuss some stuff there. I think that's better.
Yeah, better.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Bye-bye.
And see you online. We'll connect on WhatsApp. Bye.
Thank you. All right.